brain freeze.
I thought you were starting.
Yes, I am. But our CommDev name. I was like, okay.
Do you have it now?
No.
Say it loud. Voices of change.
Say it loud, Voices for Change. And this is a CommDev podcast. We come to you again with our second episode. I hope you did enjoy our first episode where we had the amazing Dr. Band. And now today I'm with my co-host, Emmanuel. We'll just go around and just say hi before we say hi to our special guest. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi, Rosie.
How's it been going?
Amazing. I mean, we had a good time with Dr. Pants on our first episode. And today we have a very mysterious man here, and I'm excited to introduce him to our listeners.
Very intelligent. Hello, Professor Woody.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so flattered to be your second guest.
Yeah.
This is my first podcast. So, second guest, and I'm your first podcast.
This is incredible. So I know I said Professor Woody, but most of us call you Woody.
Yes.
And tell us about yourself. Who is Lawrence Wood, Professor, Doctor?
Well, the first day of class, I usually tell students to either call me Woody or Professor Wood. Never Professor Woody, but that's okay. Who am I? Well, that's a good question. I ask myself that every day when I wake up, or at least if I remember to. But I'm a lot of different things. Sometimes I'm a dad. Sometimes I'm a husband or partner. Sometimes I'm a teacher. Sometimes I'm a loner or a friend, or I'm all sorts of different things to different people. So it's a lot to handle at times, but it's a life that I enjoy, a life that I'm happy to be a part of me. So I could tell you about my background. That's just all over the place. And I'm 38 years old, so I really have a whole lot to tell about. No, I'm just kidding. But what do you want to know about? What do you want to know about me?
Tell us about your background. Tell us who you are.
Okay.
Where you were born.
I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but grew up in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is famous for Bam Margera, the Jackass Show, and the QVC Home Shopping Network. So if you're ever seeing the shopping network on TV, it all started in my hometown. And I don't know if I should be proud of that or not, but it can be captivating at times. I grew up there. Then when I was 18, I went to college at a liberal arts college in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, studied history, but mostly liberal arts, I would say. And I just picked history because I had a lot of credits in history, but really sort of liberal arts stuff. And then I traveled all over the country, like 11,000 miles, and came back, and I worked. My first job was for an environmental organization, nonprofit environmental organization in Washington, D.C. I worked there for a couple years. I worked with a lot of Peace Corps volunteers. My boss was in the Peace Corps, and so he hired a bunch of Peace Corps volunteers, but I'd never been in the Peace Corps, but it really inspired me. I traveled to every state in the U.S. except one, and it inspired me to travel overseas and live overseas. So I called the Japanese embassy, and they had this program, and I interviewed for that, and I ended up teaching in a very rural area of Japan, like way out in the middle of nowhere, an island, a fishing village, for 2 years. And I planned on applying to graduate school, but I had no idea what I was doing. So I got back to the U.S. after traveling. I traveled through China for 2 months prior to going home, and I took a land cruiser from Tibet, Lhasa, Tibet, to Kathmandu over the Himalayas. And when I got there, my two favorite teams, baseball team was in the World Series, and the football team was 4-0. And I decided it was time for me to go home. And so I went home, and my baseball team lost the World Series, and the quarterback from my football team broke his leg, and they just had a terrible season. But anyway, that's when I decided I liked teaching. I had been teaching even prior to going to Japan. And I realized that there were a lot of things that I needed to do to apply to graduate school, and I had no clue, like take the GREs. And so I was just not really very organized. So I decided that I would then apply for jobs overseas again, because I really liked that. It gave me the opportunity to travel a lot. I was traveling all the time when I was teaching in Japan the first time, all over Southeast Asia. And it was great. So then I got a job in the Tokyo area at a high school. And I ended up teaching there for 3 years, figured out how to apply to graduate school. Then I went to Penn State and got a master's degree in geography, and then a PhD in geography, and then another master's degree in environmental and regional and resource economics. So then I met my wife, partner, Risa, in graduate school, very first year. And she got a job here in geography and women's studies. And there was a job opening in the College of Communication. I'd never worked in the area of communication, but they were interested in my digital divide research. And also I looked at my research. My PhD was about the political economy of development in Appalachia. Okay. So I sort of fit in with the area and some of the interests of the school, the students, and especially the CommDev program. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that they hired me, because I had a very strong development background. I was really interested in that. So now I'm sure that there's a lot more I could have mentioned, but I've been in here. Actually, this is the start of my 21st year at Ohio University. Yeah. And I'm really, I would say I'm burned out on my job, but I don't want to make that public. No, I still like it. I mean, the CommDev students, probably the best thing about my job, I would say. There's always such diversity amongst the students coming in and energy. It's really interesting. I mean, I feel fortunate to be able to have taught and worked with and learned from myself students, in 20 years working with the program, students from probably, I would guess, 50 or 60 countries.
Wow.
It's a really unique experience that I get to have. So yeah, that's where I am right now. And now I left CommDev. I went on sabbatical, and Samia took over at that time, and she liked the job. And I thought it was a great opportunity to have someone else move in. I'd been the director for 9 years. So I went on sabbatical, and then during my sabbatical, COVID hit. So that was all kind of strange, but Samia liked the job and she was doing a great job. So she took over, and I moved full-time into media arts and studies. So that's where I am now, and still teaching some CommDev courses and some new courses.
Okay. So Professor Woody, you've told us how you got involved in CommDev and all that, but I want to know, what do you think distinguishes CommDev from the other programs here?
Well, there's a real, I mean, I've always felt that CommDev can be described or defined in a variety of different ways. And when I was the director of the program, I always felt that the students coming in were the ones that were really defining the issues that they were going to study and that they were interested in. A lot of contemporary stuff, especially for someone like me who's older. I mean, I learned some stuff from my kids. My 14-year-old, I know his slang pretty well. I can kind of understand that. But really, as the world evolves around me, it's a really great opportunity to learn about it from students coming in, and to learn about the sort of social concerns that they have, the contemporary issues in their home countries. So that is, I feel like it's dynamic and it's always changing. And for every student, there's something a little bit different in what they do. And there's a real variety from, theater for development, like we saw earlier this morning, to taking a more critical analysis of various social issues. And so that makes CommDev unique. I mean, I think it's defined in a way where, in general, most of the students are doing something that sort of fits in with this communication and development, or for development, or media and social change idea. But under that umbrella, there's so many different things that the students do. It makes the job really interesting. And I think if you looked at like an economics master's program or geography or whatever, well, maybe not geography, that's pretty diverse, but a lot of other programs have the same sort of students. Mm-hmm. And this program has, I think, very personable students and interesting students, but it also has a real variety of interests that are manifest in any given cohort.
Knowing that you've worked with CommDev for so many years, 21 years, you've been a director for 9 years, what are the improvements that you can say you've seen over the years? Because the expectation is to see a program grow into something bigger than it was when it started. What are these things that you can point out that you can confidently say, these are the improvements that I've seen?
Yeah, I like to think that I helped made some improvements when I was the director. I think it was important that the university understands the gem of a program, the program that they had here, and that it was very deserving of resources and acknowledgement. So I spent a lot of time trying to cultivate throughout the university an appreciation for what the program is. And I think that when Samia took over, she brought in a different energy and some different interests, and she was the first woman to be the director of CommDev. And I like to think that, I had some part in helping move that forward. And it was very important. I think there had been 5. I think I was the 5th or maybe 6th male that ran the program. And then through the sorts of things that she's done, I see a lot of ongoing growth. She really brings a lot of energy to the program. Took students to Brazil last summer, and I think continues the sort of history of the directors being involved and excited and enthusiastic with the students about what they're doing. And for me, I think that's the sort of thing that I brought to the program as well. But I did have to acknowledge to myself after 9 years that there was, I think after 7 or 8 or 9 years of doing something, no matter what it is, it's good to sort of move on and do something a little bit different. And I think I made the right choice at the right time to step away and have someone else like Samia take over. And she's done a great job. I can't really, it wasn't an easy thing to do, because I think a lot of my identity and interests here at the university related to CommDev, but I think it was the right thing to do. I think a lot of faculty and people don't do that. They don't know when they've hit a point where they're going to make everybody better off and they move on. But for me, that was at that point.
Okay, so Professor Wood, over the years, you've had a lot of interaction with students from CommDev. What sets them apart?
As students.
One thing that sets this program apart, and that I always thought, and actually something that I fought for and cultivated a little bit more when I was the director, is that you come in as a group and you take these classes together and you do these various sorts of social activities and the colloquium, but doing all of that stuff together your first semester, I think creates a very unique bond amongst the students as a whole. And that's something that other programs don't have. And I think that they should want, but you can't really cultivate that in any other way, I think, than putting everybody in the classroom together. And so I've always thought that as a cohort, a lot of students in international studies are here at the university, may be similar to you in some ways, but as a cohort, as a group, CommDev is really unique in that there's this bond. Not everybody, there can be a couple cliques here and there, but generally speaking, there's a bond amongst the students that is unique. And I think lasts forever and really does a lot to sort of support the various interests and concerns and issues that might come up while a student here. It's really unique. I don't think there's you could look at other graduate programs on campus and you wouldn't find this sort of network and web. And, not everybody fits in the same way, but as a whole, it's like this sort of organism that I think thrives uniquely.
Mm-hmm. And looking at how diverse life is for each and every one of us, we do understand that for many, this could just be a stop, get a master's and move on. For some, they'll stay here for a PhD maybe. And we hope that we'll have a PhD in CommDev someday. Don't you think we should?
I think that the PhD in media studies has really gravitated towards that, and that the students a lot of the students coming into that program now are from the CommDev program and have media and social change interests and sort of extend the CommDev program and the sort of topics that are studied into that. Mm-hmm. So, I advocated for having more of a emphasis on that. And when I was a director, but we've seen the PhD program decline a little bit in terms of numbers. And it's hard to really sort of say at this point, when I think we have like 3 students coming into the PhD program a year, that we can really even emphasize anything. But I would say that if you looked at I don't know how many students are in the program now, but over like the last 3 years, if there's like 9 or 10 students that came in, the majority of them are studying some sort of media and social change, CommDev type of issue. So in that regard, I think it sort of has that character right now.
So what would be your advice to students who, even though we are very diverse in CommDev, who will leave the master's program in communication and development studies? What would be your advice to even the professionals out there who would want to accommodate CommDevers?
Well, accommodate. I mean, my advice to students always in the program was always do what you want to do, not what someone else wants you to do, and try to develop some sort of skills that are transferable to the job market or to academia. So if a student's interested in doing a PhD, I think it's important to start doing research, academic, scholarly type research as a master's student. If a student knows they want to go back and work in their home country, I think that there's a lot of so many different types of courses here and possibilities for creating your own curriculum that really can give you a strong background for whatever type of job you're looking for. I think that's another thing that's unique about the CommDev program is while there's the initial semester and the 3 courses and colloquium that everyone's taking together and building this cohort, after that, it's really largely up to the students what sort of program they want to define. And here at the university, we've got so many different programs and opportunities, I would say, that really everybody has almost everybody has some idea about what they might want to do when they're done. And there's great opportunities to build skills and knowledge about whatever you might want to do through this flexibility in curriculum in the program. So that's my advice. And then my advice I don't know if you were asking this question, but my advice to CommDevers out there is that you should hire CommDevers yourself, if they come knocking at your door, because you know that they'll be great employees. That's true. I don't think we see a whole lot of that though, because there's so many different people from different countries doing different things. I mean, to me, that's a really great thing about the program. Is not everybody's just doing the exact same thing. You're all, some people have more of an emphasis on gender studies. Other people are taking public administration. Other people are taking courses to develop media, technical skills. So there's a lot there. I mean, even what we're doing right here is you're developing a pretty unique skill, I would say. Yeah. As far as I can tell. And I mean, it's, I think everybody needs to have a podcast. I feel a little behind these days, but to be doing this is it might just be that you're out looking for a job and someone says, so what sort of things did you do? And you could say, well, I was the main host of a podcast. And I'll be like, oh, wow, you're the person I want to hire. So I think that's the sort of thing that is great and that people should be doing. It's a great time to explore different sorts of things.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Wood, for coming, for accepting our invitation. But before we leave, students say you are mysterious.
Mysterious?
Are you?
Huh. Well, I need to talk to those students. I'm usually, I feel like sometimes I tell a little too much about my home life in class. Things that my kids did. I used to tell a lot of stories about me and my wife, but then, I thought, I never know. But if I would say anyone that thinks I'm mysterious should just ask me about anything that they want, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. I would say I'm not as mysterious as I am sort of like boring. I just go home, hang out on my couch, sleep as much as possible. Not a whole lot of mystery there.
Yeah. Well, maybe not boring, but you are on the softer side of life. You are very, very soft. And
am I laid back, would you say?
Yes, very laid back.
That's good, because I was talking with Risa the other day. Here I go, my wife, about who was more laid back, and she was trying to claim that she was more laid back than me. I said, I don't know about that. I mean, our kids would say that I'm more laid back, and by the end of the conversation, she sort of agreed with me, I think. So,
yeah. And I'm sure your kids love you. Well, I'm not saying they don't love Dr. Ree. She's amazing. I've been a part of her class, and I think she's very amazing. But I remember in class, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but Woody would be like, just whatever you want.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, okay, whatever you want to do. And you're like, and you're never wrong. You're just never wrong. It's like, yeah. So I think you have a very good character, very welcoming character, and maybe we would like to thank you. Probably the first years are still with you here for a couple of times. We are here for a short while in the program. So it was amazing to have met you, to have known you, to have been part of your lessons and the lessons we carry forward today, because we are writing our capstone.
Yes,
and of
exactly.
course, some will be getting into the PhD program and still using the same knowledge you imparted on us. So we'd like to say thank you very much. And probably this won't be your first and last podcast.
Maybe
Never.
not. I might start my own after today.
What will you call it?
Dr. Woody.
Laid back.
Yeah.
Dr. Woody.
Laid back.
Yeah, right. Laid back with Dr. Woody. That would
Laid
be
back
great.
with Dr.
Yeah.
And we thank you so much. Yes, and that is it from us. Say it loud, and we do hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and you will enjoy those that are forthcoming. Thank you.
This has been Say It Loud, Voices of Change. Thank you for tuning in. Join us on our next episode. Produced by Communication and Development Studies and the cast, executive producer Jessica Ngolo, recording manager Betty Kankambuedu, editor and graphic designer Felipe Barella, guest coordinators Zoya Fatima Hamad and Erica Edzema, administrator Esther Efrier, guided by the director of the program, Dr. Somya Pant.